All right, so you guys have sent in a mountain of stuff on Nikocado Avocado articles, wiki entries, forum posts even.
Yeah.
You're clearly fascinated by this guy and want to know, is he a visionary or is he a con artist? Or something in between? I mean, from vegan violinist to the king of mukbang meltdowns and now suddenly losing a ton of weight, we've got a lot to unpack.
You know what's really interesting? It's how Nikocado Avocado just dances on that line between performance and reality. Like his whole career is built on controversy. And then this weight loss just adds fuel to the fire.
Yeah, you're right. It's like throwing a whole log on there.
Yeah.
It almost seems unbelievable. This guy built an empire on eating a ton of food, and now he's suddenly lost, what, like 250 pounds, and he's calling it a social experiment. You even sent us some of his early videos, and he was a classically trained violinist. Did you know he studied at a prestigious art school and performed at Carnegie Hall?
Yeah, it's true. It's a total transformation. We're talking like Nicholas Perry, the guy behind Nikocado Avocado, earned a degree in music performance from the Pennsylvania Governor's School for the Arts. I mean, that's a long way from those food mountains and on-camera meltdowns.
It's kind of mind-blowing. So when did this shift happen? When did he trade in the violin for a camera and a plate piled high with food?
Well, around 2012, he started his YouTube channel. It was mostly focused on vegan vlogging at first, but then he found his niche in mukbang. You know, he was one of the first American men to really get into that style of content.
Okay, so for those of us who might not be super familiar with the whole mukbang thing, and I'll admit I'm still wrapping my head around it, can you explain what it is exactly?
So imagine this someone sitting in front of a camera eating huge amounts of food, usually really unhealthy choices, and they're interacting with their audience the whole time. It's weird. It's captivating. Honestly, it's a bit unsettling. It started in South Korea, but it's blown up all over the world. I mean, some mukbangers have become like online celebrities with millions of followers and sponsorships.
It's interesting how something so simple, someone eating on camera, could become this global thing.
Hmm.
But with Nikocado Avocado, it feels like it went beyond just eating. There were the emotional breakdowns, the arguments with other YouTubers, the drama with his husband Orlin. It's like a whole soap opera.
Yeah, and that's what makes Nikocado Avocado so fascinating. He didn't just do mukbang, he like turned it into an art form, blurring the lines between performance and reality. You know, he understood the power of being over the top, pushing those boundaries, tapping into that human fascination with drama and conflict.
He was definitely a master at creating drama, that's for sure.
Yeah.
One of the biggest controversies that came up in the research you sent was his feud with another mukbang star, Stephanie Sue. She accused him of some pretty serious things,
Oh,
right?
yeah, she did. Stephanie Sue accused him of being manipulative on and off camera. She said he pressured her to share personal stuff, made her feel unsafe, even took pictures of her home without asking. Heavy allegations. And the whole thing played out on YouTube for everyone to see.
Wow. So how did Nikocado respond to all that? Did he deny everything?
He did. He denied the allegations, called Sue self-serving, and said she was lying for attention. He even released his own video, saying he never took pictures of her home or security system without permission. He insisted she was twisting things to make him look bad.
So it was like a he said, she said situation playing out for millions of people online.
Exactly, and that's part of what makes this whole story so tricky. The truth is hard to find, especially when you're talking about online personalities where they have these carefully crafted personas and they use controversy to get views and followers.
Like a hall of mirrors. You don't know what's real and what's fake. And speaking of manufactured drama, we can't forget about Nikocado's relationship with Orlin Home. Their breakup videos, where they'd be yelling at each other while eating, were just bizarre.
Oh yeah, those videos, those are some of his most popular content.
Yeah.
Packed with intense emotions, harsh words, a level of drama that was almost hard to believe. They'd release videos with titles like "We Broke Up" or "Orlin roasting fighting Nick again for 8 minutes straight," and then turn around and post about their relationship like nothing happened.
It all seemed so calculated, almost like they were intentionally playing up the drama for the audience.
Yeah, good point. Were they actually a couple struggling, or was it all a performance to keep people watching? Who knows? Maybe that's Nikocado Avocado's genius. He keeps us guessing, keeps us questioning, keeps us coming back for more.
It's a brilliant strategy for building an audience, but it also brings up some ethical stuff. If he was actually struggling with his mental health or in a bad relationship, then using those things for views and money is pretty messed up.
You hit the nail on the head. Is he a visionary pushing the limits of online performance? Or is he a con artist taking advantage of his audience? Or maybe, like you said before, a bit of both.
This is getting really interesting. We've gone from Carnegie Hall to breakup videos while eating, and we've only just scratched the surface.
Yeah.
But before we go deeper into Nikokado's motivations and why he's so successful, let's talk about mukbang itself. Seems like there's a dark side to this trend, right?
Oh, absolutely. Mukbang often involves eating way too much food, way more than what's healthy. This can lead to health problems, weight gain, obesity, even serious stuff like heart disease.
And haven't there been cases of mukbangers getting really sick or even dying because of their extreme eating?
Sadly, yes. There have been some tragic situations, like the Chinese mukbanger Pan Shoutening, who passed away during a really long mukbang challenge. It highlights how dangerous this can be and raises serious concerns about whether the creators and the platforms that make money from this are being responsible.
It's a reminder that behind all the spectacle and the entertainment, there are real people, and the consequences can be devastating.
Exactly. And even those who don't have serious health problems often say they feel trapped in a cycle of extreme eating pressure to make new videos all the time, an unhealthy obsession with views and engagement. Trisha Paytas, a former mukbang star who made a lot of money from this, actually said it was a disease. She felt huge pressure to keep making more and more extreme videos.
It's like a deal with the devil, isn't it?
Yeah.
They get fame and fortune by doing these extreme things, but it costs them their health and well-being.
Exactly. And Nikocado Avocado story is like a perfect example of this complex and often troubling thing.
This deep dive has already taken us from classical music to the crazy world of mukbang. We've seen controversy, tragedy, and some really thought-provoking questions.
And we're just getting started. In part two, we're going to dig deeper into Nikocado Avocado's social experiment, his motivations, and the psychology of why he's so successful and why people are so fascinated by him. So Nikokado's weight loss wasn't just, like some personal thing. He turned it into a whole media event, to get people talking and, let's be honest, get those clicks and headlines.
Also, he's a master at getting attention.
Yeah.
But what's he really trying to say here? Is he trying to make a point about how obsessed we are with drama online? Or is this just another way to get attention?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? He compared making those mukbang videos to monitoring ants on an ant farm. Like, he was testing how easily we can be manipulated. It makes you think about how we act online.
So is he holding up a mirror? Is he saying, look what you made me do? He acts like the bad guy we watch, and then he points the finger at us. Is he smart or just a really good troll?
That's what's so interesting about him, right? It's like you can't separate the performance from the person. He's built this world of illusions, and we have to figure out what's real.
And the internet makes it even harder. With those algorithms designed to keep us hooked and those echo chambers where we only see what we already believe. It's like these platforms, YouTube especially, reward things that get us emotional, whether they're real or fake. It's all about views, likes, and engagement.
You're so right. And as these creators get better at playing the game, it's harder to tell where entertainment ends and exploitation begins. It's a slippery slope, and Nikocado is right there on the edge.
So are we all just pawns in his big social experiment? Are we powerless against those crazy videos?
I wouldn't say pawns. We have choices. We can choose what we watch, what we interact with, and what we support. By being more aware of those choices, we can start to change things.
So instead of just watching whatever pops up, we need to think more critically about our choices. Ask ourselves, why am I watching this? And what am I supporting by watching this?
Exactly. We need to be more media literate these days. We need to understand why content is made the way it is and see the tactics they use to grab our attention and mess with our emotions.
Because let's be real, there's a whole industry built on getting our attention, using our emotions and our need to connect.
Yeah.
And Nikocado, whether he meant to or not, he's shown us that in a really raw way.
He's shown us some uncomfortable truths about how we interact with stuff online. Even though he might not have the answers, he's definitely started a conversation that we need to have.
And that's what makes him so interesting and controversial. Love him, hate him, or somewhere in between. He's definitely changed internet culture.
He's a product of this digital age, a reflection of our fears and desires. His story is like a warning that online things aren't always what they seem.
So after all this about Nikocado, we're still left with that big question. Is he a con artist or is he talented? A visionary or a villain? I honestly don't think there's a simple answer.
And maybe that's the whole point. He makes us think about online fame and how we make content and the relationship between creators and their audience.
He's left us with more questions than answers. But that's not a bad thing. It's like a call to action to be more thoughtful and responsible online.
It reminds us that we all have a role to play in how the internet evolves. We can choose what we watch, what we support, and what we allow to succeed.
So we're going to shift gears a bit now.
Yeah.
We haven't really touched on his relationship with Orlin Holm, those breakup videos, the accusations, all that drama. It was intense.
Yeah, their relationship, whether it was real or not, was a big part of his content. It was always chaotic and kept people coming back for more.
So what was it about them that people connected with?
I think it played into that fascination we have with messy relationships. It was like watching a car crash. You can't look away even though you know it's bad.
It's like that feeling of, I hate drama, but I can't stop watching.
Exactly. They were great at creating that drama. Their chemistry was undeniable, even if it was all an act.
Okay, let's talk about that chemistry. Some people said their relationship was toxic. Others said it was real, just different. What do you think?
We have to remember that we only saw what they wanted us to see online. We can't really know their relationship just from those videos, but some things they did were definitely concerning.
Like what? Give us some examples.
All the arguing, the insults they threw at each other, the anger and resentment. They seemed to like the conflict and used it for entertainment.
And they were always eating usually unhealthy food, even while they were fighting. It's like food became a weapon.
It's true. It was weird and uncomfortable, and it makes sense that some people were worried.
But even if it was fake, if it was all part of the act, it still affected their lives and the lives of their viewers.
Absolutely. It blurred the lines between real life and entertainment and made people question if it's okay to use personal relationships for views and money.
And that's something we as viewers need to think about. Are
Yeah.
we part of the problem by watching and engaging with this stuff? Are we giving them a platform to make money from their drama?
Those are questions we all have to deal with. Nikocado and Orland's relationship, real or fake, showed how much we're drawn to drama and spectacle.
We've covered a lot today, from Nikokado's music background to his controversial mukbang career, his weight loss, and why he's so successful. We even talked about his complicated relationship with Orland Home. It's been a wild ride.
And now, in the last part of this deep dive, we're going to look at the bigger picture. We'll talk about what's right and wrong about making content online and how we as the audience contribute to all the drama and exploitation.
Okay, so we've gone through Nikocado Avocado's career. From that talented violinist to the controversial mukbang star, he's always kept us guessing. But where do we end up after all this? Is he a visionary or just really good at playing the game?
You know, his story really makes you think about how we make content online. He's built his career on blurring the lines between being real and being manipulative. And we're not just watching, we're part of his experiment.
It's like he's saying, this is your fault. He acts like the villain we can't stop watching, and then he blames us.
Yeah.
Is he a genius or just messing with us?
Right. That's what makes him so fascinating. It's impossible to separate the act from the person. He's created this illusion, and we have to figure out what's real.
And the internet just makes it worse. With those algorithms that keep us hooked, and those echo chambers where we only see what we already believe, platforms like YouTube reward anything that gets a reaction.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's real or fake. It's all about views, likes, and engagement.
Exactly. And the better these creators get at the game, the harder it is to see the difference between entertainment and exploitation. It's a dangerous path, and Nikocado is walking right on the edge.
So does that mean we're all just puppets in his social experiment? Can't we resist watching his crazy videos?
I wouldn't say puppets. We have choices. We can choose what we watch, what we interact with, and what we support. If we're more aware of those choices, we can change things.
So instead of just watching whatever pops up, we need to think more carefully about what we're clicking on. Ask ourselves, why am I watching this? And am I supporting something bad by watching this?
Exactly. We need to be smarter about what we see online these days. We need to understand why content is made the way it is and the tricks they use to get our attention and mess with our emotions.
Because let's face it, there's a whole industry built on getting our attention, using our emotions, and that need to connect.
Yeah.
And Nikocado, whether he meant to or not, has shown us that side of things.
He's shown us some uncomfortable truths about how we interact with things online. He might not have the answers, but he's started an important conversation.
And that's what makes him so interesting and controversial. You might love him, hate him, or feel somewhere in between, but he's definitely changed internet culture.
He's a product of this digital age, a reflection of our hopes and fears. His story is a warning that online things aren't always what they seem.
So after diving deep into Nikocado Avocado's world, we're left with that big question. Is he a con artist? Or is he actually talented? Is he a visionary or just a villain? I don't think there's a simple answer.
Maybe that's the whole point. He makes us think about online fame and how content is made and the relationship between creators and their audiences.
He's given us more questions than answers, but that's not a bad thing. It's a challenge to be more thoughtful and responsible online.
He reminds us that we all shape the internet. We choose what we watch, what we support, and what we allow to succeed.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, Think about this. The next time you're scrolling online, stop and think in it. Ask yourself, who's controlling what I'm seeing? And what am I doing by watching this?
Because we're not just passive viewers. We can shape the future of the internet by being aware, informed, and engaged.
This deep dive might be over, but the conversation continues. Thanks for joining us as we explored the fascinating and sometimes confusing world of Nikocado Avocado.